Hello and welcome to the Wimlex Show episode number 37. Today our guest is Ben, founder and CEO from Kamera Express. This is one of the leading retailers for photo and video equipment, online and offline. In the German-speaking market, there is not such a retailer, and we are talking with Ben about this fact, why he could be so successful in the Netherlands, why he's growing successfully online and offline, and what the new role of the stores are in his vision. It was super interesting to visit one of the stores. We actually recorded in the superstore of Kamera Express in Amsterdam. They have their own podcaster and YouTube studio that was very interesting. And I think most of our listeners can learn a lot from Ben's vision and will have a much better understanding what could be the plans and future strategies for video and photo retailers in the German-speaking markets and in other markets as well. This show is presented to you by Spryker. That's my company, one of the leading e-commerce providers in Europe. Of course, Lena is part of the game too. She is heading Bright, a payment business in Stockholm, and Willem Bloem, managing director of debt agency in Amsterdam. Both could not be part of this episode, but one of the next episodes will be presented by Willem and Lena as well. So it stays entertaining here at the Wimlex Show, and please enjoy now the episode with Ben from Kamera Express. You start. Ben, welcome to the Wimlex Show here in Amsterdam. Today we're going to talk about retail, photo, and Kamera Express. Please tell our listeners who you are and what actually Kamera Express is doing.
My name is Ben Cornelisse. I'm currently the CEO of Kamera Express, which translates in Dutch terms, we call it the CEO, the manager van alles. It means that you're involved in everything within the company. Kamera Express is a market leader in photo specialist retail within the Netherlands and Belgium. Was founded this April 25 years ago. On which I'm part of 17 years now. Was founded by Peter Mercy, which is was a very strong entrepreneur who saw an opportunity to start his own business, and then it evolved through the trends of online and omnichannel retailing towards the market leader in the Benelux.
Yeah. Cool. And when I met you first, like half a year ago, more or less, in Amsterdam, and read about your business, I compared it a little bit to like the smaller photo chains in Germany, and they're all struggling, like Photopost and Photoprint and all the others. And you presented me a very different view on photography, whereas the online business is already a very, very important part. So can you tell us a little bit more about the numbers? So how many stores do you have? Or what is like your sales strategy? Do you produce your own cameras, for example?
To give you an idea, the struggling chains you mentioned, we have them in the Netherlands as well. But the major difference between that, we saw the market change quite rapidly at the 2010 something, and we saw that we needed to evaluate our business model as a photo specialist, and we saw that we needed to combine all the best practices in the market. So we wrote a business plan to become the new photo specialist in the market, and we saw that the group of content creators became much wide. So we needed to embrace new product groups, and we needed to embrace new sales strategies. So we expanded the assortment from photography to videography, from videography to audio, to drones, to action cams, to all types of image creators and content creators. And on the other side, developed the business model from classical store sales towards online and later to omnichannel. And that combined with the power of marketing, which is more often underdeveloped in retail, to having a strong vision and a focus and a message instead of just the touch points. And that's what we did last year and consolidated the market within the niche of image creators and content creators.
So where does it come out in terms of like revenue of the whole company?
The company now consists of 25 stores within one in Germany, 18 in the Netherlands, the rest in Belgium and Luxembourg. Last year we had a revenue of 188 million turnover, and consists of Kamera Express, which does sales, and Budget Cam, which is rental, and ProPhotonet, which is a printing company for high-end prints on wall decoration, as well as photo albums or professional prints.
And customers are mainly B2B or B2C. So we are sitting like in the podcasting studio. We can talk about that later in the Amsterdam superstore. Is there like more B2B or B2C customers coming in the store?
It's I think 70-30 divide. So for the Kamera Express count, 30% is B2B and 70% is business to consumer.
And when again, I'm referring like to the discussion we had like six months ago. When we first discussed it, out of a sudden, of course, there was like the Amazon platform question. So why would people even bother to come to a photo store anymore when there's like a much bigger assortment available on every digital website in the internet? So how did you answer this challenge?
If you look to the customer journey for buying a quality photo or imaging creator equipment, you see that it differs from a proposition. If you buy online, for example, in the Netherlands, we've got Amazon, but also bol.com or Coolblue. You see that the main driver for shopping there is convenience. And that's logical. If you need something, you need it quick, you can see a wide assortment, you can evaluate your product offering and get it quickly. But there's less information, advice and emotion involved in convenience shopping. If you go to high quality products like digital photo cameras in a high sim, you see there's a lot of emotion, technical advice, and not the product, but the solution is the thing you're looking for. So you're not buying, for example, a camera, you're buying beautiful memories, or you're not buying a camera, or you're buying content for your business. And therefore, the advice you need and the configuration of the product is much more complicated. It's not just a camera, it's a camera and a lens and audio recording, or like we're sitting here today with your audio recorder, your camera, and all the equipment combined gives you the solution to do something. And the customer journey there is much more complicated, and we focused on that. So, and we saw that the physical touch points are a very dominant role in that journey of trying out and consulting. But as well, the convenience shopping, as a professional needs something, they need it quick, or they need to evaluate products, compare products. There's an online channel very important as well to drive traffic towards the physical touch points. So it's very the combination and the product group which make the difference.
What is more important today, the retail stores or the online channel?
It's if you look at in a country, for example, the turnover divided in the Netherlands will be 55 through stores and 45 through online sales.
And that's already like a very big chunk of the revenue then generated through online. And because if I understand it correctly, you're not building your own product. It's rather you're selling professional devices, so Panasonic, Sony, whatever, Canon equipment. So what is then your USP of the online store? So are you like the leader in the price? Are you the leader in the service? Are you leader in availability? So how do you differentiate yourself from other stores that you mentioned, like Coolblue or bol.com in Holland?
We differentiate in assortment. So we have really the widest assortment, and everything from mid to high end to professional step. We know the assortment, so that knowledge about the assortment makes you better to provide the assortment towards your end user. So pricing, I think that's something that doesn't differentiate you anymore. So you need to be on par or comparable with pricing. So that's not something. We have a very strict pricing policy. So we're never the cheapest, but we're never more expensive than our competitors. So that's not a driver for us.
Wait. You're never the cheapest and never more expensive. Is this possible? So then there's like one market price
You see that developing much more and more because everybody's looking towards another and everybody has pricing comparison tools. So you see that the prices made online are almost the prices which everybody matches.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's more and more the possibility. Yeah.
Okay.
And of course in advice, inspiration, education, and service is where we make the difference.
And you told in the beginning that you're now consolidating the market a little bit. You talked about like 25 stores now. Where's the store in Germany? In
Hanover.
Hanover. That's where my co-founder Boris comes from, and co-CEO. And we will look up that store later. But how many independent photo retail stores are there left then in Holland, for example?
If you compare it towards like 10 years ago, I think we have 500 photo specialist stores, small
in Holland,
entrepreneurial stores in Holland. They sold images for prints and equipment, and often even photography service as well. Yeah. And where you saw that they could never reach their customers. They could not facilitate the needs of the new customer because they have no online platform. They could not make the investment in online platform. They had little knowledge of marketing. They have not the investment or the knowledge to create an inspirational platform like an academy or tutorials or the funding to raise a store network to have multiple touch points to be available. Yeah. So you saw that the companies who were acting on those principles like media marketing, retail or bol.com online were not offering the specialism and the high service and the advice or the assortment they needed. So we saw an opening to combine the concept of a great online company, a great a retail chain, and the basic principles of a photo store. And by combining those and aggressively growing, we consolidated the market. And today, in the Netherlands, for example, we have a 40-45% market share.
Online plus retail stores.
Yes, total market share in imaging, like digital cameras and lenses. And I think there are actively 10 photo stores in the niche available, which are still going strong, comparable to the 500 10 years ago. So you see that the turnover consolidated quite quickly to few onliners or one store, one website, hybrid, but no real omnichannel chain who has the power of an onliner, with the knowledge, the marketing and the platform and assortment and the logistics, because that takes great investments, but also keeps up with the local, availability, through a chain of stores.
How do you perceive then the situation in the German market? So I'm not like the 100% photo specialist, but what I see at the market is we have like 2 or 3 okay running specialists like Calumet, which is like on the same level when it comes to mid-range premium products. Not so many stores, I think, not so strong online.
But it's a good comparable. For if you take Calumet for an example, you've got in Germany you got a different type of store. There's a very strong third, fourth generation family owned photo specialist who are traditionally in stores. Their stores are still traditional. Their assortment is still traditional, so mainly focused on photography instead of image creators or content creators. And they have invested in logistics, marketing, or e-commerce to be a player of the size or the level to compare with bigger onliners. So there's a very differentiated field of many players who are having a chunk of the pie, but none of them excels in certain areas. None of them excels in stores, none of them excels in online, or none of them excels in assortment. Yeah. And that's the status quo. So if you compare it to Calumet, for what I think they have a very strong store policy. They've got great stores. They focus very much on high-end photography, but their assortment might be limited because the innovative assortments like drones, 360 videography they are catching up. And their online concept is quite thin, and their presence is quite thin. So, and if you look to our concept, we are even online dominating the market within the product group.
So, what I try to find out is there like a consolidation trend, even cross-border?
Yes.
So, and that only would make sense if there's like a real USP, like in synergy effects, apart from the brand, because you would have the same investment needed in building like an online presence in Germany as Calumet would need, for example. Before we talking about this, maybe we can wrap up the market assessment a little bit. So there have been like a chain called Fotopost, I think, in the history of Germany, Fotoprien, which I think is even has a root in my hometown, Kiel. I'm not 100% sure here, so it's like thin ice, and some others. So do you see like the same consolidation already happened in Germany, or is it still ongoing?
No. We think that the consolidation you see in Germany is currently happening. What happened like 5-6 years ago in the Netherlands is currently happening within Germany. You see that the competition is getting tighter and tighter. When the photo specialists don't claim their position online or in omnichannel, you see that Amazon or MediaMarkt will take over the volume available. Which the turnover they will divide, because the profitability of those photo specialists won't keep up with their smaller volumes or their business models.
Okay, we talked about this before. So our office in Hamburg is located to the biggest consumer electronics stores worldwide, or maybe Europe.
Yeah.
The former COO told me it's worldwide, but you never know. It might be biased. And because it's so close to the office, so sometimes if we need additional equipment, we just go there and say, okay, we just need it now. Don't care, like for the 20 euros that could have been saved through online, go to the store. And if I asked the COO the former CEO from MediaMarkt, okay, is this something you can build up upon? You really can drive the growth. I think the area for photo equipment in this store is like 1,000 square meters, which is already very big. There's lots of enormous, lots of equipment still there. And like from an analyst view, they might be an outside analyst might say, okay, this is probably the winning model, because people that are interested in electronic coming like to a big Saturn store or MediaMarkt store, they just grab then the next best Sony A7 or so camera. They don't need like a specialist like you are. And when I entered here the store, you told me about the connection between sales personnel and customers. So I think your perception of the USP is a little bit different. So what would you tell the CEO, Wolfgang, by the way?
What we see, we developed our store concept, and we think that just being big is not the USP to drive on in the near future. I think that the most important thing you can
big in terms of bigger stores
or more assortment. It's also about the quality of the assortment. For an example, I visited that store as well. And if you see, it's more of a accumulation of small brand stores. So they've rented out the square meters to all the brands, and all the brands position their little store within the store. So it's not that store. It has no identity. It's accumulation of brands, with not a single brand identity or not a message. It's there. So it has no unique selling proposition. And what people are looking for more and more is confirmation of making the right choice when you buy more expensive products, or they're looking for a solution, and then they need equipment to make that solution happen. And therefore they need interaction. And the main proposition of physical stores is the personnel. For the confirmation, the advice, the service, also for the fun factor, which is I think too low valuated, because the fun factor of engaging with a human being in a store is still one of the number one hobbies in the Netherlands, shopping. And shopping is interacting with stores, assortment, and people. So if you have just a big 200, 500 square meter accumulation of different brand stores and assortment, but you're missing out on the people or the knowledge of the experience of shopping, you're still selling nothing, just space or square meters towards the major brands. So, and people don't often come for a brand specifically, they come for the store. So if you lose your own identity, your unique proposition compared to others is disappearing more and more.
Okay, let's dive into the customers a little bit to have a better understanding of your standpoint. The customer that is usually coming here in the stores where we're sitting right now, buying online, buying at the store. So how many touch points do you have with this customer? Like 5 a year, 2 a year, 10 a year? Buying stuff?
Depends on which type of customer. If it's a regular consumer, then it's probably once every 2 years, because they don't buy every year photo equipment. If it's, we divided them in 3 groups. We got the enthusiastic image creator, which is a regular consumer, but wants more quality and more, how do you call it? Correct words. They want to differentiate their photography from the availability of a smartphone. They want more. They want more quality, more options. For their holiday or their child or whatever situation is there in a private. So that's the enthusiastic photographer. And they visit us once every 2 years, approximately. Then you got the fanatic image creator or photographer. They visit us multiple times each year. Mm-hmm. So they buy camera, lenses, and accessories, and are more engaged. So they want to learn. It's for them, photography or image creation is a learning curve. Yeah. So they invest more and have much more touch points with us, online and offline, and events we organize, or at our online tutorials or academy.
What is the average revenue of such target group per year? It's over €1,000 you can make with them.
If you divide the total of a few years, and divide because it differs to year. You've got, when you buy equipment, it's more €1,000 a year, and then afterwards it's just accessories. So if you divide it, it's I think approximately above the €1,000 a year. Yeah. Mm. And then you've got the professional image creator, which we also serve, and they have even sometimes 5 till 10 touch points a year. And their spend is above €2,000, €3,000 a year.
And you told in the beginning about the rental business model for the professional image creators. Does it make sense, instead of like spending 10,000 per year on equipment, renting stuff for special purposes?
Yes, especially for the upcoming content creators. In the past, it was a discipline being done in-house by companies. But these days, it's much more outsourced. They hire people to create content. And in fact, they often are young entrepreneurial content creators. So they don't have the availability to invest big. And you see also that the innovation within the product category is high and catches up rapidly. So investments are made. You don't buy a camera for 10 years anymore. Buy a camera which you can use for 3 years or maybe 2 years, and then an innovation catch up. As well as every business solution you need to offer requires a different set of equipment, different lenses, maybe different lighting, different studio equipment and everything. So they often buy the camera, but they rent the lenses because they're quite expensive, and you don't use every lens on every occasion. So I think there's a very good hybrid model there, where we can offer you the camera for your day-to-day business with the lens you need in 60-70% of the occasions. But for the 30-40% other occasions, you need an extra camera for a 2-point camera angle, or different lenses because you're doing a rep video which requires more dynamic lenses, or you need extra lighting because you have a certain business you have to registrate. So there, I think those two combine greatly.
Yeah, I'm asking this question because we have in Germany the case of Thomann, which is a big audio retailer, and this retailer is becoming now the blueprint of how to beat Amazon in a specific niche. And the audio customer, like I am, for example, for podcasting equipment, is like buying, like, let's say, something between like 500 to 1,000 euro in value per year. It has like I don't know, 4 or 5 times a year touch point. Yeah. And this creates a retail setup that is sufficient to beat big platforms, because you need like this
constant touch points, this frequent touch point. Otherwise, you would win the customer back from Google or Amazon like every time, and this is like a very bad situation to be in, because
very
like
costly innovation
in the Google and Facebook game, the bigger platforms like Coolblue and Bowl always outperform you because they can sell the customers on top of the camera, I don't know, a t-shirt, so to say. So you lose over a certain time. And I met a couple of episodes ago, which is now also available in Wimlex, the CEO of Pierce. Pierce is the biggest distributor of enduro and motocross equipment in Europe. I think it's more or less the same revenue space, so 200 million in revenue.
Yeah.
And in the enduro lover, motocross lover I tried to compare him or her with the photo enthusiast. So he has a same assortment advantage here, because if you specialize on the assortment and on the filtering, you have like a much better selection or much better help for the customers to find the right camera, the right lenses, the right whatever. Something a big platform cannot do, because there's so many new attributes you have to build in your data, in your database, which is not impossible. And I'm trying to think about, the photo professionals are super cool target group, because actually you could even afford a call center to call them up and say, here's an event in Rotterdam coming up, and we have like a super blue hour set up here at the Schiphol airport for like our 100 best customers, and it would pay out. The more advanced customers, maybe over CRM, automated CRM. I'm a little bit worried about like the standard customer who's coming in here like every once in a while, every like second year.
It's true, but that is exactly the problem of those customers. It's very difficult to catch, because their touch point, or the times they touch one of your sales touch points is not enough to keep them engaged with your brand. So that's the most challenging group for us as well. But if you compare us to Thomann, for example, which gained his leading position also through volume and consolidation in the market, he's the only big player in the offering of audio.
The only left.
So only left, because a winner takes all. And that's what you see in the photography business. It's very much divided yet. But it has to be a winner to be competing with the bigger platforms. So there's a similarity between what we are trying to do and what Thomann already did. But they chose to do it mainly online. Yeah. And we see that's not enough. That's not the best future profitable business model. So we're combining offline and online in a situation where offline attributes to online. So that doesn't mean you need, like in the Netherlands, you could also have 100 stores. But then the coverage of a store and the reach doesn't match the potential clientele. So having offline stores combined in good omnichannel, you also need to position your stores and look what is the range people would like to travel to have the extra service of a store.
Okay, got it.
So that's very important as well.
As we are already talking about Thomann, are you also into audio? Are you selling microphones and all this stuff?
For us, it's a category which we service, because the image creators also record audio, for example, for the video discipline. But probably we'll have customers who are customer from Kamera Express and also customer from Thomann.
Okay. So Thomann is a thing here in the Netherlands too?
Yeah. With their Dutch website.
Okay, so talking about platforms then, and being like the winner takes it all. Now, 2 weeks ago, I think Amazon announced that they now will really invest into Amazon.nl.
Yes.
And that's something we've also discussed with Ruud Vermeulen from Bol.com in one of our episodes. Okay, what will happen when Amazon is calling? It was a very intense discussion, and what is happening actually is that they call up all the vendors in the market and say, okay, please give us your merchandise. Please list it on Amazon. You will have like an additional revenue, even though the vendors know that it's kind of a prisoner's dilemma. It's a trap but as you know, your sellers, they are like incentivized usually on a quarterly basis. If they're selling more stuff into Kamera Express, into Ben's business, they're getting their reward. Same is happening now with Amazon. So let's say Amazon is investing into the camera
assortment a lot. Is this something that makes you sleep a little bit harder?
No, but it's a very good question, Alex, because you see a change of mentality from the suppliers as well. So what you mentioned is something that was happening. They were only focused on selling. You know, they are rewarded for selling into retail and not on selling out through retail. And that's a big change happening within the supplier side as well. And the greatest example I always use is that the suppliers or the producers, like for example, take Canon. Canon is not interested in how much cameras it sells through Amazon to bol.com or through Kamera Express. It's interested in how much cameras they sell. And they've learned this the hard way by losing a lot of sales channels and seeing that the market is declining or declining more rapidly than it would. Because you need, if you're an innovative company, you need to bring your innovation towards the consumer. That's the most difficult part of a producer, of a product. And if you don't have change or communication platforms or retailers who can bring that communication of the innovations you offer towards the users, you're selling less and less, because then your product is not more, it doesn't divide from other competing products. So people start buying lesser or cheaper products. So there's a big shift going on from that side where they start learning more and more about their end users and looking more to the journey in partnerships with the retailers. And awarding them more on their sell-through and the quality they add. So you get rewarded, or do you create new market for us instead of do you buy big? And that change helps the more value-added concepts like us. For example, in the consumer market, why do we have, even throughout the difficulty, like you mentioned, through the Coolblue, bol.com or MediaMarkt, with the consumer who only has twice a year interest in an imaging product, to offer something that adds value. For example, if you buy a camera from us, which costs €399, we offer you a free photography course in our academy software. So you get for free an academy which teaches you how to use your product. And it has a partial value of €80-90, but because the possibilities digitally, it's very affordable for us to create that content and distribute it to all customers who buy such a camera. So when customers nowadays evaluate where to buy such a camera, they do that mainly 90% of the Netherlands does it online. They see an added value proposition at the same price they should buy it from a different channel. And then we get a share of that market towards us, which we see as when we can make them enthusiastic about image creation, will be the next fanatic photographers.
Okay, got it. So no sleepless nights due to Amazon yet. I will ask you the question again in half a year or so.
No, but still, to making the bridge towards the concept of Amazon. Currently in the Netherlands, we have Amazon from Germany. Germany has 2% lower taxes than the Netherlands and a totally different competitive markets. So we are currently engaged with the pricing of Germany. When Amazon comes to the Netherlands, they do like they do in all markets. They adapt to the market. So they look what's the competitive pricing point and assortment in that market and then change. Look for the UK or France. They have completely different prices than Germany. And if you look through the, as a big online retailer, we have, of course, the 55% offline and 45% online. We also see the difference in sales in price points in different products. So if you compare what kind of assortment is being sold online, it's cameras till a price point of €500. If you look after the €500, the customer journey changes to photo specialist. So like, I think the market share for a more expensive full frame camera, so the cameras are starting at €1,000, is 90% in the Netherlands is being sold to photo specialists. But we have major online platforms like Coolblue, bol.com, even Amazon is available for our customers in the Netherlands. And we've got MediaMarkt. But still 90% of the customers choose to buy those cameras at photo specialists. Even the online sales are going to photo specialists.
Okay.
So you see the competition from Amazon. I think our colleagues at bol.com or Coolblue I can imagine that they are afraid of losing a lot of share in their business, because on the convenience shopping side, products below 500 euros, Amazon is a serious competitor. If you look at products above 500 euro or 1,000 euro above, which is our market,
investment products,
they are not the leader. So, but Coolblue, Bol.com, they have like 70% of their stock or products sold is below 500 euros. So I can imagine there's a direct competitor entering the market on the same category and the same product range as you're actively in. And we have our focus. Of course, we do add those customers in B2C, but our focus is the fanatic and the professional. So the upgraders, the people who are more engaged in the product, have a more touch point than just once, twice a year.
Yeah. Okay. I got this. So let's stay with this. So we'll come back to this in a minute. If we are looking to Amazon, or if we're looking into the business model of Bol.com, we see that especially in online, the businesses are getting better and better if they add more assortment. And like in a standard e-commerce or retail business, you usually had to buy merchandise from the vendor and sell it with like of course a markup to the customer. In digital, that's not necessary anymore. You can go into the marketplace mode. You can just go to the vendor and say, okay, Sony, I take the A7 camera. The rest is not good enough for me. We can list it on our website. Fair enough. Whenever there's an order coming in, we will push the order through your system, and then you send us. We're getting rid of the inventory risk. Yeah. And in even further development, where now Alibaba and Amazon is really active, you're not even a marketplace anymore. You're only selling ad space, which is like the Alibaba business model, because you don't want to be responsible for the product policy of the vendor. You don't care anymore if like Canon is doing good cameras or Sony is doing good cameras. You only sell them ad space because you're like the place to be for camera enthusiasts or for photo enthusiasts. And that's actually where I see all online businesses will have to go to be competitive in the future. So if I look from the outside into the Kamera Express business model, I would assume you're still on, we call it like generation 1 retail model. Is this true?
No, absolutely not. I think generation 1 business model is retailing through economy of scale. Or lean and mean, you know.
I buy more Sony, I get a better price.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that those are the old days, because even the Sonys and the Canons don't think that way anymore. So if you have a business model still working on that way of procurement or service levels, then you're way behind. Even the producers are already ahead of you. So, no, certainly not. I think we've evolved from a classic photographic store towards a strong omnichannel business, which has solid USPs to engage with the clientele on a different level and create fans instead of just one-time touch businesses or consumers. So, and that's where we can help our customers. We can add value through our tutorials, our content, our events, our academy, our service in store, instead of just being economy of scale. So cheaper, bigger, and faster, you know. And I think that type of retailing is, if you compare to Bol.com, it's a great example. I once read a piece about a marketeer who's controversial. He likes to be controversial, but I thought he had a good point. You know, Bol.com is changed to a marketplace because their web shop failed. So I thought that is of course just one point of view, but it's an interesting point of view, because they acted to become a marketplace because they could not make profit from just regular web shop retailing. But Coolblue did, for an example. But even Coolblue, which was rapidly growing, they are living on growth, but the growth is coming to an end as well. So if you look at Kamera Express from like 25 years of history, we've always been a fast-growing and profitable company. So you see that creating value or adding value can lead to growth in even a declining market, but still be a strong business model. Because the only thing that in retail that matters in a business model is making profit as well. Because otherwise,
all the things you do, which you think are great, probably don't have any value because you're not making profit of it. If you're a producer like Canon, then it's a different story, But a retailer, we are just sending products from A to B. So there's no technology involved. There's no advanced investments which we can, on a later scale, when we are big and old and strong, we can earn on. It's not like we're Facebook. No, we're just retailers. So all those technology platforms, like those web shops, which were, when they started, were like innovative. They needed investments, and you need to be innovative to create a good web shop, are now available for everybody. Even at a certain point, to become a retailer, you could join a marketplace, you could buy certain software and be available. So it caught up with them, and they haven't evolved in their business. They are still one step ahead when online advertising was cheap, when logistics were cheap, when you had a lean and mean and economy of scale advantages, but those are gone. So what's left? And then you see that, for example, I read in the news today that bol.com does not report their figures separately from Ahold. And they say, because it makes the business vulnerable to Amazon. But how would that make the business vulnerable to Amazon? It's only like you've got something to hide, Is that the problem? Don't you know where your business model is going? Don't you know where to make your profit? If you look to those niche retailers like Thomann, for example, it's a strong company with a strong focus and a good earnings. If you look at Kamera Express, it's growing in a consolidating market, adding value, have a strong focus, have a strong vision where to go, and are profitable and growing. So I think that's the best way to judge on a retailer instead of economy scale or growth figures.
Yeah, profit seems to become like an outdated KPI these days.
Yeah,
but I'm with you. But talking about like declining markets, I read in the most recent Brand 1 magazine that I think the peak in the digital camera selling in Germany was 2005, 2006. It was like 120 million. And in 2019, it was like 10 million. So it seems to be very declining market. Now we are in a store, which is like pretty much positioned in the digital camera market. So do you see the same in the more professional equipment side, or was it always like a growing market?
No, it's a very good question, Alex, because when a market declines rapidly, it's very interesting to open the box and look inside what's really happening. The smartphone adaptation peak was just a few years ago, where everybody had a high quality smartphone with a camera. And you saw that the decline of digital cameras in general, which consists from digital cameras starting at 99 and ends at cameras cost 10,000 euros, they are judged as one category, digital cameras. But it's not one category. If you see the decline has been 80% of that decline is cameras below 300 euros, which are totally replaced by smartphone. It's like saying that audio doesn't exist anymore in speakers because the MP3 players got replaced by Spotify. It's different. Now we have wireless speakers. So the category changes. You see that there's a certain replacement by innovation. So cheaper cameras get replaced by smartphones, but their image sharing is I think 2,000% up instead of so the engagement with content, video or image has been greatly awarded. But you see that there's a group of enthusiasts, a fanatic or professionals, which is stable and even growing in more expensive cameras. For example, the category full frame photo cameras, which really divide on a innovation or a specification on a quality side from smartphones or cheaper cameras. That category has been growing for almost 7 years already.
What is full frame?
Full frame are digital cameras with a very big sensor. So they capture light in a different way than smartphones. They have a more dynamic range, they have better light sensitivity, and they create more depth of field, which that is a magic word, bokeh.
Yeah, I know. This one. It's
exactly. So those cameras can create a totally different set of content compared to smartphones or cheaper cameras. And you see that's where we mainly focus. So who are the bleeders in the change of the digital imaging market? That are the people who sell cameras through 300 euros. That are mass retailers or online retailers, because that's a product you buy from convenience. Yeah.
You know what you want the best price point, and you buy it.
It is a consolidating market, but you would say
it's more transformative instead of just.
So it's not like hitting like your niche that hard, like because we are sitting in a room with some drones in here and augmented reality, which is like there's like new stuff coming in your in your industry. As we are like hitting like the 40-minute mark here, which is like the domestic flight length in Germany, not Netherlands. We have to do like a little bit of wrap up. So if you're looking at 2020, 2021, and you've seen a lot of like consolidation in the market, did a lot of like superior omnichannel experience. So if I would go to like an older retailer here, he would describe where he wants to be, what is actually the situation where you have been already like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
No, omnichannel is done. You can select like on your website you can see the assortment store-wise, I would assume. So is this available at the superstore here in Amsterdam? So if you like buy something online, you can give it back here. So all the like standard omnichannel stuff is done.
It's done.
So what's next?
What's next?
Yeah.
That's a great question because that's something we've been asking ourselves as well. And we think that retail is evolving rapidly. You know, the consumer behaving is evolving so rapidly, it's even difficult to catch up. And I think that for us, it's the most important to be able to adapt quickly. So that's why we try a lot. We are today in a new store in Amsterdam, which we just remodeled 2 months ago. And we created a testing and creation space in a store where you can test your camera in a real live studio environment, which is free. We're sitting in the sound booth, the podcast studio or the vlog studio where you can try out audio equipment, video equipment and everything.
Record podcast, so every listener can come here, rent a room and record podcast.
So that's why we're trying to accommodate our user group much more. But the goal for us is being developing the business of retail. So we think that it's more going to be community based for niche players like us. So we need to facilitate their platform, their usage, to connect them with each other, to be able to have them exchange knowledge together. So not just being able to offer a web shop, but also a community platform. New types of ownership. So that's why we recently acquired a rental company to integrate the knowledge from rental and pay for use instead. We call it rental, but it's more pay for use. And we think that the hybrid of pay for use combined with selling will be the future. So all types of ownership or usage, combine that with a community of image creators and being able to connect them and provide them relevant content. That will be the future of retail. So stores are one of the touch points there. They need to change for just buying, but to meet, to experience, to exchange knowledge, instead of just being a store at itself. It's one of the touch points in a larger concept. And the concept will be community with all services provided. So not just buying the equipment, but used equipment, print with the equipment or pay for use or rental. So I think it's interesting where it will end. But I think it's the biggest challenge is to keep up with the consumers and their demands in that.
Okay, got that. So let's assume our new video audiographer at Spryker, colleague Alexei, he's requesting for an event and one of these fancy what is it called red cameras, costing like 20k.
Yeah.
So and I would say no, we can't buy this because like 2 events a year. They'll try to rent one. Is this something you would offer?
Yes, that's something we would offer. But also for
how much for a day?
For?
For a day, how much would it be?
For a day?
Yeah, or for a week. I don't know.
I don't know. I think the depends on which red camera. But if you do the basic Raven equipment, which is a 10k or 12k of investment, will be 250 a day.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah. So because professional equipment lasts longer, so the day price are compared to the ownership value is interesting.
Yeah.
But it's
that's not true for Ferrari rental, but in general, I agree.
So
in general, I agree.
You've got to own one, then, but that's not. They don't get more.
So you're looking that into a bright future from your point of view. You don't have to fear like the platform economy because you're becoming a platform.
Exactly, but on a different platform, not just a retail platform, but a platform for content creators on which we use all the services. they need from A to Z. Not just procurement, but also pay for use, rental, knowledge, exchange, meeting points.
And then my last question would be, how big is then the risk to slide into all the other niches? One we have already touched, which is like audio, and say, there's so many people now renting this podcasting room, though. Let's sell microphones. Let's get into a big deal with Sennheiser and Rode and all the other audio.
It's great that you mentioned it, because I think that's a very big risk. I think that the focus of the niche makes you the king of the niche, and the understanding of your clientele. And by that deep knowledge you have of the assortment and of the clientele, you can excel, and then you can really build a platform and community for that product group. If you make it wider and wider, you're not unique anymore, and then you start heading towards the platform economy or the platform retailers. So selling everything of everything. And then you lack of knowledge, you lack of connection with the customers. So your assortment as well as your engagement with them will be much more difficult to really excel in. So no, I think this is the key, is focus on what you're doing and being the best in that category. That will help you achieve the next expectations from consumers.
Cool. That was very helpful. At least we have found like one omnichannel winner, which is very hard to find in the market. We will closely follow your business, and hopefully we can do like a catch up, maybe of one of the bigger conferences in Germany on stage. Then you can show the equipment too. Thank you for your time. And then I highly appreciated the podcast room investment here, and hope there's going to be some more Wimlex episodes to be recorded here. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
I hope you enjoyed our little conversation about the photo and video retailing market. Please give us a nice review on iTunes or SoundCloud or whatever podcasting app you're listening to the Wimlex Show. Refer the Wimlex Show to your friends, and stay tuned for the next episodes out from Stockholm, Germany and Amsterdam.